It's a Data origin story.
Home planet, nice. Well, that's not good. What an ominous thing to say right before beaming down.
Yeah, like what?
All right, enough fan theories. We'll just watch the show. Shut up and watch the show. So, Alex, we are officially halfway through season 1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Isn't that wild?
I feel like I say this for every every milestone. So I'm like, oh, I can't believe it. And it's like I keep saying the same thing over and over again. I can't believe it. But it's like just like, they say, oh, time flies. It's like it's exactly how it feels. It's like, oh, we're coasting through this. I mean, like 2 episodes a week that we record. It's like, whew, it's going by.
Yeah, it is really weird. Just in the sense that, yeah, the last like few months from watching the Star Trek movies to starting this, it felt like for such a long time I was in the anticipation stage of starting the show, and then like we started it, and now we're like finally in that groove of watching it every week. That yeah, it's weird to be here.
Yeah, it adjusted because we came like in the era now, like TV shows are like 10 episodes and like super long episodes. And our first adjustment to TOS when it was like 20 something episodes, like the first season, it's like, oh my God, that's so much. But I feel like now we've adjusted to that so well that now it feels very fast. It's like, oh wow, this season's flying by, even though it's 20 something episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people want us to go even faster than we are, but even watching it in the pace that we are, it's such a condensed version compared to how people watch it really on TV. We're watching what took almost a calendar year for people to watch in real time. We're watching in 2 to 3 months, so
Hmm.
it's hard to kind of live in the moment when you're just kind of running through it. But how do you feel about the first season so far? We're halfway through it. Expectations that we set at the beginning, how do you feel like they've been met? What are you looking to see more of?
In terms of expectations met or not met, I mean, the way people have described this to us, it was like the worst thing that to ever come out. But like I've said a few times, like it just feels like we're riding like a decent baseline, like a couple up, a couple down notches, but none really like "Whoa," or like awful or terrible. But there are sprinkles. I think everyone has said this as well. There are sprinkles of good stuff in there, whether it's like lore building or just good character stuff. Like it's all in there, which makes me excited. If like 3 to 7 are great, it's like hopefully it's like all those little good things turned up a lot more. And I just hope like we get some crazy risks taken soon, and not depending on like episodes like The Naked Now, where it's like, remember this? Remember this? It's like the whole play it safe type thing. Like, just go all out with it.
Yeah, I feel like one thing that I've said a lot about people's perception of the show versus ours is that, this is our first time watching it, so we don't know season 1 is bad until we've seen all the seasons, and then we can look back.
Hmm.
But there have been people that have commented and said, like, for example, with Naked Now, there are a few comments that were like, yeah, this was the episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation when it came out that I watched and made me stop watching Star Trek. And then I came back to it years later and watched the rest of the show once I heard it was good. So there were Star Trek fans at the time that immediately when the show started were like, no, I don't like this. That's not for me. And I just didn't get that feeling at all. Like, even though the episodes weren't strong, I instantly was like, I just want to watch more and more of this. And someone commented recently and brought up that it's probably because we're so fresh off of TOS that we have more of the hunger than people who fell in love with TOS. Next Generation was 20 years later, in real time. Imagine a show, that we like right now being on TV, and then in 20 years, them doing a sequel show. We'd probably be much more likely to be like, oh, yeah, this one's not for me.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they had the movies to kind of like guide them or keep them hooked. But it's weird, like the movies kind of took their own direction in terms of costumes and all that, and then to kind of go back to the TOS style and a new, different look. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I guess I'm kind of going through something similar now with like the MCU. It's like the
Yeah,
new stuff. I'm like, I can't. I just don't care.
yeah.
It's like I'm done.
And that's only fractionally as old, as this
Yeah, it's
jump
only
would
like
have
10
been.
years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or just like 2 years. When was 2019? Like 4 years ago. Like
Hmm.
I was at like my peak love for it, and just like watching it slowly die down. It's like and like a 20-year separation. It's like Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
So I'm becoming more understanding of people's perspectives of that. With that being said, though, this first half of the first season has completely surpassed my expectations. The only thing that I'm still waiting for is an episode that I'm like 10 out of 10 classic, absolutely love. But there have been a lot, as you guys have seen already, with how many I've said were my favorites so far, that I really did enjoy on that first watch.
Hmm.
Hopefully, we can get one that, rises to that level. But I think that this episode today is a good example of a really good episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. This one, like, it gave me a little bit of Enemy Within vibes, a little bit of vibes, not like Naked Now vibes, where it's
Hmm.
like same thing. It's like just little hints. Like we get to see, similar to William Shatner, we get to see Brent Spiner like play a different version of the same character almost. Like it's the same character, but just like with this new added element that Data is always looking for. Like he wants to be, like he kind of wants to be human. He's always like questioning, and like this is a version of him that has that, and he's terrible.
Yeah, Brent Spiner is basically the star of this episode. He's given so much screen time for two versions of the character, and I thought he did a great job. So
Yeah.
we'll throw it over to the reaction so you guys can see our reaction to Datalore, episode 13 of Star Trek The Next Generation, and then we'll see you guys on the other side for our full thoughts on the episode, as well as our patrons' takes and what they think about it as well. So we'll see you on the other side.
I have decided to visit Data's home planet for a few hours in the hopes of unraveling some of the mystery of his beginnings.
It's a Data origin story.
Home planet, nice.
Oh God.
Mark.
Look who it is.
Stand by for subwarp.
So, like you see
Head
that
for
guy walk in
standard
the
over
background,
base.
like, doesn't that look like a darker blue, I feel like?
Yeah, you're right.
How can you be practicing something like sneezing when we're arriving at your home planet for the first time? Aren't you interested in that?
More than interested, fascinated. But I also find sneezing interesting.
Choo!
Who's he watching sneeze? A cartoon character?
You can memorize every bit of Data, but you can't mimic a sneeze. He can bang, but he can't mimic a sneeze.
Yeah, yeah.
Strange. The cruiser that found Data reported farmlands there.
You want to take her into orbit, Data?
No, thank you, sir.
I'm very curious about his origins here, because they say that like, his home planet, like, was he built there?
Yeah, I thought he was created by humans.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Now they're saying like they found him there, or like someone found him there.
I like to think that they were a dozen episodes in, and they're like, all right, guys, we got to figure this guy out. Write an episode about him.
I'm tempted to lead the wait team myself, except that my first officer would object.
How would Starfleet judge me if I didn't? Entire Earth colony did disappear down there.
Well, that's not good. What an ominous thing to say right before beaming down.
Yeah, like what?
That was just his little way of knowing, don't worry, there will be conflict. It's not in this opening hook, but
It's not just an origin story.
yeah, we didn't have time to get to it.
These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds.
I know we said we noticed that they said no one has gone before, but did we make a comment about how it says continuing mission instead of 5-year mission?
Yeah, I realized that too when I was editing the video. In one of the videos, I said like, oh, what are they going to do? Keep it within the rest of the 5-year mission? But I started thinking like, they never said it was a 5-year mission in this show. And also there's 7 seasons, so
Yeah.
yeah.
They didn't want to. They didn't want to limit themselves. It's like we can go forever.
Yeah, so I wonder if they just are out there, and so we'll see what happens.
My guess is they're gonna go for 7 years, and then years will go by, and Picard will come back as a 97-year-old man and continue the adventure.
Oh God. Well, I mean, you know, how weird TV timelines are like seasons 1 through 3 is year 1, then season 4 takes a 3-year jump. It's like why?
It's like, oh,
First officer's log. Stardate
Oh, here we go, on location.
4124.5. We have found Data's home to be a completely dead world.
Datalore. Yeah.
Literally. What's this episode? It's Data's Lore. That's the title.
Commander, I'd say that everything on this planet was either dead or dying at the time Data was found.
I was found 20 meters in that direction, sir.
I thought at first it was on location, but it's not. This is just the set, which I still like.
Yeah, this looks great.
In a lot of ways, I prefer the set over an on location.
Takes me back.
This is where the cruiser's landing party found the signal device that led them here, and they found me lying there.
You were just lying out there in the open?
They believed the signal device sensed their presence and activated me.
Then this very spot was your birthplace.
Now I have so many theories running through my head. Is he from the future? Is he from the past? Is he a plant? Is he a secret agent? Is he like the Iron Giant? Oh man.
Was he naked? I think so.
Who built him?
There are signs of it being constructed in a hurry, as if to hide something here.
Yes, that was it, Geordi. This awakens a memory remnant. of how the colonists hoped to remain hidden. Their fear of being discovered led to their storing information in me.
Yeah, thought so.
Oh, shit. Secret door.
That's cool, but I'm sorry, I can't get over that Data wasn't built by the Federation.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Maybe they'll tell us in this episode.
What if we go in there and it's the same guy who built the androids, even though he was an android and he died?
But for this one, for some reason, he made his eyes green and stuff.
He made a clone of himself before he died. All right, enough fan theories. We'll just watch the show. Shut up and watch the show.
Oh, this looks big. How do you think they did like a matte painting back there?
Like it cuts off at some point and becomes a painting? Yeah, well done, if so.
Worf, you gonna talk at all?
They're definitely going to find a still alive scientist or something in here.
Mm-hmm.
Does this stir any memories, Data?
Only a vague impression of some of my functions being tested here.
I swear to God, if he was about to be like, stir, what does that mean? So I'm glad he doesn't do that for every
phrase?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Something that feels familiar, sir. And dangerous, but I have no idea what it represents.
Data, Geordi, we'll get a close look at this lab. You and Lieutenant Worf reconnoiter where those corridors lead.
Aye, sir.
You know, one thing I really like about Riker in this show and the first officer is that he's like essentially the acting captain, like anytime Picard's not in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't really feel that from Spock that much. Like he didn't like step into the captain role. He was kind of like, didn't want it.
Yeah.
Well, he literally didn't want it.
Yeah, definitely wasn't him. But he did become it later, but we never really got to see it, really.
Nice.
Oh, shit.
Commander Riker, looks like some sort of storage area.
I would definitely make sure it's clear before opening anything up.
How many more Datas are there?
Looks like just these two.
I mean, that and the real Data.
They gonna assemble them?
Commander, can this be another me? Or possibly my brother?
I honestly don't know, Data.
He needs assembling.
He. Data, we don't know that this can become alive.
It is very important for me to know that, sir. I never dreamed it was possible that I might find some link.
We'll take it back to the ship with us.
That's good. I thought the Riker was gonna be like, no.
This totally changes my like look on Data. You know, like you said, thinking that he's just one of countless androids created by the Starfleet to being literally the only one of his kind until now.
Discovered something which may explain Data's beginnings.
Oh, that guy's back.
Oh, hey. No, just pretend that you're doing something. All right. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah.
This looks like an arm.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Woo!
They need you at the debriefing.
I've been most anxious to hear the chief engineer's opinion, Mr. Argyle.
Oh, we got a name.
Just one thing. Without disassembling you, of course, if we should need more...
If we should need to compare this with the way you're put together.
I like that it's that duo, like the doctor and the engineer, because it's like not a full human, but it's kind of, you know.
Yeah.
We are merely a different variety of machine, in our case, electrochemical in nature. Let's begin to handle this as we would do anything else.
That's blowing Riker's mind.
Based Picard.
That human-shaped robots need not be clumsy or limited in their performance. You certainly operate as well as we do.
Better in some ways, sir.
You might want electromagnetic thermometer reading positive or negative.
Positive.
Press your fingers there, Doctor.
Right in my ass.
It operates almost as a switch.
Better not be self-destruct.
I won't mention it to anyone. You have my word.
If you had an off switch, Doctor, would you not keep it secret?
I guess I would.
Yeah, great point. You know what? You wouldn't want anyone knowing that.
Yeah, no way.
Notice the microcircuitry here and here.
Also, in this type of shot, it's clearly like the camera's like mounted on something, so you don't have to worry about,
It seemed to go well, thanks to a look inside Mr. Data. But there have been no signs of consciousness yet.
Oh, we're gonna get two different Datas acting. So Brent Spiner doing two different performances, maybe?
Certainly is a good match for Data, sir.
Do you think so, really? I wonder which of them was made first.
He was.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he was assembled. He wasn't.
But they found him to be imperfect. and I was made to replace him.
Oh, shit.
You may call me Lore.
Oh, okay.
Oh. So it's Datalore. Lore is Data, or Data's Lore, and then he's also named Lore. Huh.
Very serious question. Since the two of you are so closely related to each other.
The answer, sir, is that my loyalty is to you and Starfleet completely.
Thank you, Commander. I was certain of that.
Didn't even have to finish the question.
I was going to ask if we can replace you. You're driving me nuts.
All of which you will learn more about when the captain has approved your being on the bridge.
You will find that there are many rules on starships that must be learned.
Shut up. Get out of here.
You're very clever, Wesley. I now have duties to perform, correct?
They were all like helping him and teaching him. It's not like anyone was mad he was there.
But why is he the one to be like, oh, there's many rules, you know? It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
seems like Starfleet hasn't changed with their overly trusting, you know. Like, sit in the chair, here's how everything works.
Yeah, they never learned from Khan.
Thank you for that information, too. You do care about how I perform. I pledge to be worthy of your teaching, my brother. Try not to be jealous of my ability.
Nah, that's impressive. Acting with yourself.
Yeah, eye lines are pretty good.
I wonder if they probably had a stand-in.
Yeah, probably. But I get it, like, perfect. I mean, the stand-in would have to be, like, the perfect height, because everything looked pretty locked on.
Mm-hmm.
Everything available on a Dr. Noonien Soong. Ah, good old often wrong Soong.
It's kind of creeping me out.
Data's like, you're able to make jokes?
Yeah.
And almost laugh? What?
It would be foolish to underestimate you, brother. Yes, I lied when I said you were made first, but with good reason. But he made me so completely human, the colonists became envious of me. You lived with the colonists until they petitioned Soong to make a more comfortable, less perfect android. In other words, you.
Excellent lighting on his eyes there.
Yeah.
And that's a great twist.
I use their contractions. For example, I say can't or isn't, and you say cannot and is not. But then you also have trouble with their humor. Am I right? Quite true.
So they just went too far with Lore and they had to take them apart and they just pulled back a bit with Data, maybe?
Yeah, like Data's the perfected version.
You realize, brother, I can help you become more human.
So Lore's AI taken too far, and the Data has the safety precautions.
Yeah.
May I use this to learn more about this vessel and its customs? Use it also to describe for the captain the time you spent among the colonists.
Come on, Data. After the way he was just talking and acting, you're gonna let him do that?
I have more than I've dreamed possible, brother.
It's excellent getting to see Brent Spiner
be
able to act.
Like another variant of his character. A little more range.
Lore had been disassembled. He explained it as jealousy from the colonists. And Data wasn't yet alive at that time.
They're all just cool with the fact that Laura lied to them. Like the very first thing he said was a lie about Data being first. It's fine.
Speaking strictly as security chief, how much can you trust Data now?
I trust him completely, Lieutenant. But everyone should also realize that that was a necessary and legitimate security question.
But if you ever do that again... Lore can drink? Oh, he's gonna make someone drink that. Hopefully the security cameras aren't on, like they always are.
I toast our discovery of each other. May it fill our lives with new meaning. A perfect match. Brother.
They were like, we're tired of doing this. Two Datas on one screen. We gotta knock one of them out.
This is a lot of work. I wonder what this tick is that he has.
Oh, and he stole his clothes.
Come in, please. Lore suddenly attacked me and I had to turn him off.
Why did he do that, Data?
He discovered we have been using sensors to follow what he does. I practiced his facial tick. Do I have it right?
I'd suggest you forget imitating him. If you'd said we've been using the sensors instead of we have, I might have suspected you were Lore.
Boy genius, Wesley. Couldn't figure it out.
Good.
Yeah, he figured it out immediately. I know you're Lore. He has to knock him out too. Oh god, he's like manually giving him the tick.
Oh god.
Is that what it is? Just his muscle?
Wes, tell me again how Data said he immobilized Lore.
He told me he just turned him off, Ma. Doctor.
Nice little touch.
Mm-hmm.
Did you or did you not swear me to secrecy about your off switch?
A change of mind, Doctor. If I cannot trust the bridge crew, whom can I?
Captain, I'm picking up a bogey coming in on a 5 o'clock tangent.
It's transmitting no ID signal, Captain.
Oh, she knows.
Mm-hmm. Where's Troy at?
Yeah, convenient, huh?
I recognize it, sir. It's the crystal image Laura described.
I like the design. It's different.
Captain, recommend that you do not let him roam the ship freely.
Ensign, Wesley is simply showing himself to be alert and responsible. You can watch everything I do.
Not if I have a choice.
That is enough, Ensign. When addressing a senior officer...
I've guided his training, sir. I'm the one at fault. You will show the proper respect. I will accompany you down there to make certain of it.
You little shit.
You piece of shit.
If Wesley suspects something, why is just say, I don't know.
Yeah, why can't Wesley just say,
If that's what he thinks.
Yeah.
Because what other reason would he be acting like that?
Lore, good. He is still unconscious. Notice the same twitch, even though he is unconscious?
Notice he's doing the same twitch that he was doing before.
I have a few questions to ask you. Lore, it is Data. He senses you. I will record everything he says.
You bring it to the bridge immediately.
And you want to be as stupid as them? Dear brother.
Oh, shit.
That's awesome.
I thought I was going to cut to them still standing in the doorway.
Did you say something?
Yeah, we heard what happened.
Apparently sensing that Wesley and I were present.
Or is it Lore pretending to be Data and faking it all?
I asked for Commander Riker's report.
Yeah, it sucks because he's right, but it's nice for him to get yelled at.
Yeah.
Our ship's phasers will then blast and disintegrate it, proving we are dangerous.
Make it so.
Sir?
Do it.
Not used to Picard's lingo, huh?
Yeah, and Data probably is.
I know this may finish me as an acting ensign, but...
Shut up, Wesley!
What?
Shut up, Wesley?
Doctor.
And since I am finished here, sir, may I point out that...
Shut up, Wesley.
Holy shit! I can't believe that.
Request permission to return to my quarters, sir.
Agreed. Doctor, go with him.
You're putting me off the bridge.
To be fair, why are you on the bridge?
Yeah, you don't work there.
Yeah, you're the doctor.
Emergency closed.
Oh! Wow.
Our two big boys
Show
here.
your warrior fierceness.
Well, sort of.
So he's just giving up the game now?
Come on, Worf.
I mean, I understand why Data or Lore, would beat Worf, but come on, man. We gotta have Worf win a fight eventually.
How sad, dear brother. You make me wish I were an only child.
Ooh.
Are you prepared for the kind of death you've earned, little man?
If you take one more step towards my son.
Motherhood.
Well.
Go! Or he'll be shrieking by the count of 5. 1, 2.
Get out of there!
I'm sure she doesn't want to leave him.
A small payment for your son's misdeeds.
Oh! Oh! That's her doctor hand! Oh! Shit! Let's go!
Wes! The transporter!
Wow!
Oh, it's cut cut off like mid-beam. Oh, that's kind of cool. Had the beam transported with them. Woo!
It's also neat that they have transporters in like different areas.
Yeah, yeah. Makes sense if they want to move cargo into the ship. Just beam it up.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor, now that Wesley's safe, go to sickbay at once.
Captain.
She seems fine.
Data, you all right?
Yes, sir. I'm fine.
Now get rid of that damn twitch and put on the correct uniform.
I'm fine. I am fine.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, if they were wearing the same clothes, maybe, but
Yeah.
they weren't, so.
I only wish we were all as well balanced, sir.
Agreed.
I think those two have become better friends as the show has gone on. Compared to the first episode when it was like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't really like you that much. Oh, wasn't that great? And you know what? You can tell us how great by dropping a like below. Is that it? Are we good? Well, the lore, the lore, and they even have a character named Lore.
Yeah.
What a great title name just to start off, because you're like, oh, Datalore, and then it's like literally Data's lore, and there's a character named Lore. It's like, love it.
My number one thing is towards the end of the episode, I was really starting to hope, like, man, I hope they don't just kill this character off because, you know, this kind of alter ego of Data could be great to come back in the future. And we don't see him die. He just gets beamed away, and then this big snowflake thing that's going to kill the Enterprise, you know, floats away seemingly with Lore, you know, attached to it or something. I don't know. But I am already hoping for the day when he comes back and it's just Lore, not the Lore, Lore, Lore.
Yeah, similar to the Khan yell, we get a Lore yell, Lore.
But I hope it's not soon. Like, not this season, not in a few episodes. Like, way down the road, completely shock us, even though we'll probably find, you know, they'll name it Lore 2 or something. But
yeah, in the title, yeah.
Lore returns.
Yeah, or what was the name of Hide and Lore or something?
One of the standout things about the episode is all of the double shots, all the shots of Brett Spiner as Data and Lore in the same shot. One of the best examples is the hallway where they're both walking down the hallway, acting off of each other. Very impressive. But in my opinion, it was not overused. It didn't become like the gimmick of this episode that they kept going to. I thought it was in there a great amount to be done well. But then they also had a lot of scenes with just one of them where we got to see just Lore interact with other characters. So I thought that was a big strength of the episode.
Yeah, absolutely. They did it enough to where it was believable. Like, I believed it. Like I don't know if the stand-in was just like perfect height, and they did it so impressive enough where it's like, okay, I applaud you. And then they, you know, like right the perfect time where it's like, okay, now we can like separate these two characters and have fun and let Brent Spiner just knock it out of the park, in my opinion.
I say tomato, and you say tomato. I say potato, and you say potato.
Yeah, he was excellent as Lore. I was shocked by the twist too, and I loved the twist where at first he's like, Data was made first, and then they made me to replace him. And you think like, oh, that's his villainous, you know, egotistical side. But no, he's lying. He was the flawed one and was taken, you know, disassembled. The Data is the perfect version.
Yeah, and both are believable because like, oh, Lore is in pieces because he wasn't finished yet or something. But no, he was in pieces because he was disassembled. I'm like, makes sense.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to go like the Terminator 2 route, like, you know, oh, I'm the new upgraded version, I'm better than you, and I'm the villain. But they didn't go that way, so I really liked it.
Just talk about Data. I find it weird that he was not built by our Enterprise people. Like, he was something that was discovered. I'm like, okay, that's crazy. But Picard has one of the best lines.
We are merely a different variety of machine. In our case, electrochemical in nature.
Like, we're doing good. Like, we're moving forward, you know?
Yeah, that completely changed my perspective of the character. But I think in a better way, because it just makes him more interesting to me. This is a much more unique backstory, and I'm glad we got it, because now I don't see him as just this android with one purpose, to be on Starfleet. It makes sense that he would have to go through the academy and all those things, because he's just essentially a species just found out in the wild.
He's like Worf. He's like any of the other aliens that work in Starfleet. And like Picard's one line I just talked about really helped sell that he's just like another living being. He's an alien.
And it's cool that he's really one of one, well, one of two now with lore. But now knowing that there's only Data and lore really that we know of out there in the universe, he's not just something that Starfleet could recreate at any time. Seemingly, I don't think did they even make androids? I'm guessing not if they didn't make Data. So.
I'm glad that they haven't, because if they had, I feel like there'd be like Star Wars, they'd be all over the place.
Yeah, I'm selling toys.
Yeah. Because besides like the one TOS episode with Ruck, we haven't seen any. So that's very nice that they didn't make them; they discovered them.
But shut up, Wesley.
Probably the highlight of the episode for me. Just
the highlight of the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean the fact that like Picard like says, you know, shut up. It's like it took me so off guard. I like lost my mind. And his mom says it too. It's like, oh, it's great.
And since I am finished here, sir, may I point out that...
Shut up, Wesley.
And of course, Wesley's the one that, you know, figures it out. Can't be anyone else.
Which annoyed me because Wesley sees Lore first, acting as Data, doesn't figure it out, seemingly. Then Dr. Crusher seems to have more reason to figure it out.
Did you or did you not swear me to secrecy about your off switch?
If I cannot trust the bridge crew, whom can I?
Does that mean you were on that tangent?
It makes more sense for her to be like, hey, Captain, I think something's off. But no, she just says nothing and never brings it up again. And then Wesley just, I guess, figured it out in his own mind off screen. In that scene where he does incapacitate Data, he kicks him in the head so hard in his head, you know, he gets a little wound and it's just like the robot inside. I love just a little detail like that.
Yeah. And you know what? They could have totally, I'm glad they didn't, but now that I think about it, they could have totally done an enemy within thing, and like Lore does that to himself. Well, they kind of did with the face twitch.
With the twitch, yeah.
Notice the same twitch, even though he is unconscious?
Notice the twitch.
Notice the twitch. Like, thank you, Lore.
Yeah, it's definitely vibes of Kirk in Enemy Within with the scratch.
Look at his face. Remember the scratches? Look how he's tried to hide them.
It's like just enough to where it's like I didn't think about it until afterwards. It wasn't like watching like the Naked Now where it's like like watching it, you're like, oh yeah. I mean, sure, watching the episode, 2 datas basically. I was thinking that, but I wasn't in the mindset of like, oh great, Enemy Within remake.
But it's a completely different setup and reasoning and story as to why it's happening. It's not the same thing with Naked Now.
Just
little
hints. That's all.
But yeah, that was we both popped big for the Shut Up Wesley. But you know it's weird because like I didn't even hate. I still feel like I don't hate Wesley. I don't know what it is like. It just seems like recently the show wants us to not like him. Like for Picard to say "Shut up, Wesley" like that.
Yeah, it's weird, especially if like Wesley's supposed to be Gene's, you know,
stand-in.
Yeah, himself. Yeah, or maybe that was an impromptu line by Picard. Shut up, Wesley.
Yeah, it's just a bit odd because I truly don't like hate the character. I just feel like all of a sudden it just shifted to where now we're supposed to not like him. I don't know. Maybe it's just the comments getting to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is nice though to see the classic set once again.
Yeah, that cool like little little walkway. And how about that fight scene at the end? Where they're throwing stuff at each other.
Yeah, that seemed like classic TOS fight scene. I even saw a couple shots of stunt doubles in there too.
There's a couple times where you could tell like the hair was different a little bit.
But I love that stuff, and it's just him getting thrown into the barrels. It's great. At first, when we saw the ending, we kind of questioned like, oh, he said I'm fine, not I am fine.
Yeah.
But do you think that I was thinking about it? Do you think that's actually to show growth for his character?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Where it's like because the entire time like Laura's kind of putting him down. Like, oh, you could be human, you could be all these things, blah, 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 and you're serving these people. And, like, it's just, like, a better step for Data that he's able to do that, say I'm instead of I am.
That's how I took it, because it's clearly Data. Like, it's not a multi-episode arc where he's actually Lore.
Yeah, I'm just so used to modern movies, TV, where it's, or, like, even, like, a Twilight Zone ending or something, where it's, like, it's me wanting those dark endings, like we talked about last time, where it's like, oh, I want a dark ending. But well, no, I'm happy with the ending, but it's like I'm always in my mind thinking like, I don't know.
It would have been a neat trick to pull if it was like 5 minutes earlier, where they thought they got rid of Lore, but it was actually Data, because we as the audience know basically throughout the whole episode who's Data and who's Lore. But if they even were able to trick us somehow, where we think it's Data now that's still here, and then he does the I'm fine, and then it's like as the audience like wait, and then Lore pops back up one more time, and then they defeat him.
Yeah, that would have been really good. If, like, you're right, because we're with them the entire time. There was a moment where they trick us. That'd be really good.
But even without that, I still took it as just a growth moment for Data. Who knows if he'll use contractions at all moving forward, or if it was just a one-time thing, is like a nod to the episode. But Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm still in my favorite band, so I can't say whether or not this is my favorite, but yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, same. And I liked how Lore is beamed out mid phaser shot. Like never seen that before. Like where did that laser end up? Just shooting through space.
Yeah, even the phaser got transported.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like is that beam like did it after it was phased to shoot off into the space once
It got put into his body. Ah! All right, we're going to read our patron takes. This is where our patrons over on our Patreon get to let us know what they think of the episode, predict what we're going to think about it, as well as ask us questions about the episode and what we think about it as well. We don't read these until right now after we've watched the episode and fully discussed it, so we're going to take a look at what they have to say.
Stephen Johnson. This is an example of an episode from Season 1 where it immediately comes to mind when people say there are no good episodes in Season 1. Datalore is one of my personal favorites from Season 1. So many things are brought to our attention about one of our core characters here. I completely agree. I like this one a lot. This one's up with the holodeck one for me. Like these two are up there for me.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of people comment something similar where they'll say like, yeah, season 1 gets a bad rap, but I love X episode, you know, whatever. So some people have definitely given it that praise, but yeah, there are a lot of people that just wholesale, I've seen in the comments, reject, you know, the first season or even the first 2 seasons like you said. And there are so many episodes in here, I would be pissed if we had never watched. Like, if this would never happen, but if we did just start with season 3, you know, there's already been at least a handful of episodes from this first half of the first season that I would not want to go without. So, odd mindset that I'll never understand, but that's just me.
I mean, you gotta really not like it to tell someone to skip 2 seasons of a show.
Well, and usually I feel like people say, like, just get through it, not skip it completely. But
yeah.
All right, this one's from Colin. Since Alex loves lore so much, I predict he will like it.
Yeah, I like both the lore and lore. Yeah.
Kidding aside, this is a further showcase of Brent Spiner's skill and craft as an actor. I agree. The episode does not entirely work, but it gives us a decent preview of themes and characters we will revisit throughout the rest of the series. I'd like to know a little bit more about why Colin thinks it doesn't quite work. You can comment and let us know, Colin. The fact that we went to Data's home planet and it was a little bit underwhelming, I guess. Like, it's just an abandoned planet now. It makes sense for his story, though, but I guess in my headcanon, that's a little bit underwhelming. Like, you think, like, oh, we're going to his home planet, only for it to not matter at all. But
yeah, and did our crew ever find out that, you know, Lore fed these people to this entity? Like, I don't think they were ever told. Oh, well.
No, we know, though.
We know.
This one's from Jeff Cornell. I like this episode, but the latter part would have worked better if it was revealed that the senior officers knew right away Lore was impersonating Data, and just didn't want Lore to know they were onto him, and that's why they kept shutting Wesley down. But there's at least 1 or 2 times it happens when Lore is nowhere around, so I guess it's not an act, and they just had a brief moment of baffling incompetence.
I like that comment a lot. I do. I think that's like okay. And they revealed to us that we weren't, you know, ahead, that they were already onto him. Like, yeah, we knew it wasn't Data.
Yeah, and we could have even fed into like Wesley's frustration if they played it right.
Exactly.
Like, don't let us know, make us angry like Wesley, and then, oh no, flip it on its head.
Yeah, like we're just leading, like, obviously we can't take Lore down, so we have to make him believe, because, you know, Lore beat the shit out of Worf.
Yeah, and again, they might be asking too much for an 80s show, but, you know, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. That's the think of cool ideas, you know.
Just the fan cast.
Yeah, you guys really think you know better than the show. It's just a discussion.
We're just throwing ideas out. This one's from Nolan. Alex, not just lore about Data, but the actual lore. I know, yeah. I know I chuckled to myself every time you said it because of this. And Star Trek presents as an enemy, a giant snowflake. Well, no one saw that agent poorly, how could they? And holy smokes, some music cues this episode, possibly the hardest the score ever goes in the next 3 series. The turbolift scene, there's other good score points, but this one just upped the brutalness. Yeah, the score definitely, but also I think the lighting on lore, the difference, like similar, how many times I'm going to reference this, the enemy within, where it showed like evil Kirk and then regular Kirk, and then like sometimes when it showed Lore's face with like different lighting, it's like, Jesus, he's fucking scary.
Yeah, and especially the scene for the score when Data was first finding the disassembled Lore body. The score really piped in as kind of like almost like a spooky sci-fi type score, almost horror elements to it, which, you know, doesn't really full go horror or anything, but in that moment, kind of like almost like a Frankenstein's monster type vibe. So yeah, I really like this
Yeah,
one
like the
too.
door opens, the smoke all comes out, like super like I don't know, 50s B movie, like ooh, what's
Yeah.
in here?
But you know, Alex, I do have to say, you know, it was a bit triggering, to be honest, to watch this episode where, you know, it's all about a double of you that's an android. I mean, that you have to battle with, that's kind of trying to take over your life. I mean, didn't you kind of find that a bit uncomfortable?
Uh, no, what?
Because of like everything we went through this past year?
Yeah, I don't remember any of that. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh,
Woo!
gosh. Look at that chest hair.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's kind of sexy.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Actually, it feels quite comfortable.
I love how deadpan he is.